More news coming out of 345 Park. Roger Goodell has denied the NFLPA's request to recuse himself from Tom Brady's appeal hearing. Here's a portion of the letter he wrote in response to that request. The process by which discipline is imposed for conduct detrimental and by which appeals of disciplinary decisions are heard has been in place for many years and is well known to the parties. That includes the role of league staff in the proceedings and the likelihood that the commissioner will have some knowledge of the underlying facts because protecting the integrity of the game is the commissioner's most important responsibility. I decline to rewrite our collective bargaining agreement to abrogate my authority and discretion to hear any appeal in a conduct detrimental proceeding. The motion for recusal is denied. We will proceed with the hearing on June 23rd as previously scheduled. So the beat goes on for this case, for Tom Brady's appeal hearing. June 23rd is when it will be heard. That's when we'll find out if it will be reduced, if it will stay at 4 games, if it will be entirely reduced. This is something that's been ongoing for obviously quite some time. I am sitting now with Eric Davis. And Eric, when you hear this official decision from the commissioner, is it a surprise to you, or is this what you expected to come down?
This is what I expected to come down. There were a lot of things that happened before. You look at some of the Ray Rice cases. You look at that right there, and there was a lot of heat taken because you didn't know exactly what was going on. The people felt as though he didn't have the information, that he should have known more about exactly what all the fabric was that was involved in that case. So I guess right now he's saying, I'm going to make certain that I hear all the facts, that I know exactly what's going on, that I'm in the room, that I am a major part of this decision making. And that's the way I expect it to be.
And it was what was collectively bargained when they came out with the new CBA. So not a big surprise there. Let's bring in our insider, Ian Rappaport. Ian, you have more on this situation. I'm assuming you expected this as well.
Yeah, this certainly, Dan, is the expected outcome here. But there are several things to note when looking at the full text of Roger Goodell's 1,200-word letter to the NFLPA. First of all, he says, my mind is open. And then he says later, I very much look forward to hearing from Mr. Brady and considering any new information and evidence he may bring to my attention. This is something that Roger Goodell has said over and over during this process, something he said during his press conference in San Francisco, remains very open to possible reduction or even vacating of Tom Brady's 4-game suspension, provided Brady gives him new evidence or some reason to reconsider this. And, of course, this makes one wonder if Tom Brady does produce his phone for the NFL, as he originally declined to do during this investigation. Does Goodell reconsider? And if he does reduce Tom Brady's suspension, if he offers an agreement to reduce suspension, does Brady actually take it? Because then it might cause people to say, well, he obviously is accepting some culpability. He took a suspension. So a lot of questions still, but it remains clear from reading this text and talking to league sources that Roger Goodell is very open to a possible reduction or vacation of Tom Brady's appeal.
I wonder if the parameters for that information that he would be giving up would be the same before they were going to allow Tom Brady's lawyer to pick certain text messages from his phone and hand them over. Would they be allowing him to do this in a similar such manner this time? And is there anything else he could produce besides his phone that could be additional evidence?
Well, if Tom Brady does have some level, any level at all of guilt, or if he had any knowledge of anything that was happening, if he did admit that, it would certainly stand to reason that would be something that Roger Goodell would consider. And just talking to league sources about this, Dan, over the last several weeks, the issue that has been brought up, the precedent that has been brought up to me, is the Ben Roethlisberger situation. Very similar case in that Roger Goodell heard the appeal, wanted to sit and look eye to eye with Roethlisberger, hear his explanation, hear that his behavior would change, and of course we know it has changed. And then Goodell took a suspension from 6 games to 4 games. So even if Brady would admit some level of knowledge of anything that has happened, even that alone might allow Goodell to say he was more upfront. I would consider a reduced suspension. But of course, any new information is something that it seems the commissioner would consider and possibly use to alter Tom Brady's suspension.